Hey, this is Jill Ciminillo with Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and today I've got this big boy. This is a Cadillac Escalade-V, and it's actually an ESV, so it's the extended wheelbase version because, frankly, this is the first vehicle Cadillac could get off the line, and so we wanted to test the engine, so that's what we're doing. In this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you about how this is different than the regular Escalade. We're going to go over seating comfort, and I'm going to tell you some driving impressions. So let's take a closer look right now. All right, now let's just start with the engine because obviously this is going to be the biggest thing that is different from the regular Escalade. And what we have here is a 6.2 liter V8 engine with a supercharger. So this is going to deliver 682 horsepower and 653 pound-feet of torque. And the supercharger on here is going to be the same thing that we'll see in the Cadillac XT5 Blackwing, but it's bigger. So, because they needed more airflow, and obviously this is a much heavier, much bigger vehicle, so just needed a little bit more to help this go as fast as it does. And speaking of fast, it goes from 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds. This is like a really flippin' big vehicle that goes 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds. That's really cool. All right, so while we have the engine bay open, I'm gonna walk this way just a little bit. And as you can see, I'm like on my tiptoes here because this is really big space. And we've often done the dipstick check in the vehicles that I'm driving. And I'm gonna point out the dipstick is all the way back there. So there is no way that I'm going to reach that little yellow tab back there from my position. And while in other vehicles I have previously stood on a bumper to reach it, yeah, I'm not doing that in this vehicle. I would be way too afraid of breaking it because this vehicle right here that we're driving, this is an ESV extended wheelbase version, starts at 152,000. That's more than a house. I definitely don't want to break anything on this vehicle. So this is the engine. Let's take a look at some of the other things that are different on the Cadillac Escalade-V versus the regular Escalade. One more thing that I want to do before we leave the engine bay is point out this little plaque right here. Because this engine is hand-built in bowling green, you can see who built it. So I'm just going to do a little shout out to Crystal Strickland and say thank you for building the engine in this vehicle. All right, I just want to do a quick 0 to 60 mile per hour launch, and let's see how this goes. I'm in V mode, I'm mashing on the brake, hitting the accelerator. There, it's touching, and here we go. 51, 55, 62, 68. Yeah, we'll back that off pretty quick. That was a lot of fun though. I could see myself breaking something, wearing something out, playing with that because I would have to do that a lot. That's a lot of fun. I felt it throw me back in the seat. Did you see it throw me back in the seat? Yeah, I like that. We've talked about the engine. Let's jump into some of the other things that are new and unique on the Cadillac Escalade-V. So the front fascia is completely different, and they've included a lot more air intake because, you know, bigger engine, bigger supercharger, you need more air to cool that down. So it also has what they're calling a mail slot down here. So again, more air, bigger air slots, bigger engine. So as you move around the side of the vehicle, you will notice that there are also 22-inch wheels, and these are exclusive to the Cadillac Escalade-V. And as I was looking at these wheels, now this is really cool. There's a couple cool things on here. So first off, I'm going to point out that you have the V emblem badging right here on the wheel. And I don't know if you turn this a little bit sideways, and you can see that it's off to, you know, a 90-degree angle next to the wheel emblem. But I don't know, I think that looks really cool. So you also have 6-piston front Brembo brakes here. And the cool thing about this is, all right, here is the key, and it is red to match the color of the brakes. I mean, come on. that's cool. We were looking at a Cadillac XT5 Blackwing, and it had a blue key, and the brakes were blue. So yeah, it's the little things that I totally geek out about, but the key matches the brakes. So that's really cool. You also have some V badging throughout the vehicle. So on the exterior, you have it right here. And if you walk around to the back, you will notice that you also have it right here. So the rear fascia of the vehicle is also different, and you see what else is different here? You have a quad tip exhaust. So all the better to hear you with. By the way, speaking of that, listen to this. Not anything that has anything to do with the V, but I think this is kind of cool. It's been a while since I've driven an Escalade. And this right here, if you push the badge, which by the way, like, whoa, look at that. That's like bigger than my hand. But if you push the badge, that's what opens the rear of the vehicle. At first I was looking for a whole bunch of like slots or something, like a little pad that you would push, but nope, you just press the badge. So in the back here, you have, again, this is the extended wheelbase version, so you're gonna have extra cargo space back here. And you can really fit full-size luggage for, I mean, maybe not 6 or 7 people, but definitely for 4 people. So I could see you taking a really good road trip with all of your luggage back here, and that is definitely a plus of the extended wheelbase version. Now, because this is a high-end vehicle, you're also going to have your mechanical controls here, or your power controls, so you can put the seats down just with the press of the button, and you do have to hold it. I was going to see if it was a one press, but it's not. You have to hold it until they're all the way down. But then you can put them all the way up in the same way. And that's really nice. You do have a button here that you can push to put the second row seats down, but you have to use your own manpower to put them back up. Plug back here, so that could be good for tailgating or camping. I don't know. Would you take an Escalade camping, especially V-Series? Would you? You can go ahead and answer that. Something else that is going to be unique to the Escalade-V is going to be this right here, the AKG sound system. This is the first time I think it has been implemented in an automotive vehicle, and it's a 36 speaker system. And they were telling us during the press preview that this is, it's like they're enclosed speakers, so that the audio system is really good from the quality inside the vehicle. It doesn't have any vibration or exterior noises popping in. So that is always nice and appreciated, especially if you are an audiophile, which unfortunately I'm not. So I'll have to wait until I can test this at home and have my husband take a look at it. So you do have an excessive amount of screenage going on. And basically you have one long piece of glass behind here with like basically 3 screens. So you have a 7.2 inch screen here, you have the 14.2 inch screen there, and then behind in the center stack area, you're going to have a 16.9 inch screen. So really cool animation. And then you power up right here. I don't know if you caught our live stream, but in case you didn't, during the live stream I was hiding this screen over here. Now I will point out I have been idling for just a little bit while I've been doing some video, but when I got back from my drive, this screen right here said 12 miles per gallon. And we hadn't been idling a lot before that. So yeah, they have not released the numbers, the fuel economy numbers. I think they said that the current Escalade gets 14 miles per gallon in the city, 19 miles per gallon on the highway. So much more powerful engine, and you're looking like we were getting about 12 miles per gallon. So I don't know. We did a couple of launches, and like I said, I've just been idling now, so went down to 11.9 miles per gallon. But yeah, we've heard anecdotal information that somebody who has been driving this vehicle was getting about 15.5 miles per gallon. So I don't know, take that for what it's worth. We don't have the numbers at the time of filming this video. All right, so this is the interior. This is the 16.9-inch screen. It's very like touchable, swipeable. I think it looks really good. It's an OLED screen, OLED, and that means that the graphics are like 2 times better than a 4K. I think that's what they said. And so you've got like just really nice graphics and really good visibility. So if I pop this into reverse, you know, this is where you can really see it, is in the screens, and this is super important if you are in a city environment and you really depend on these screens to get into tight spaces. The extended wheelbase version, I can see these coming in very handy, and you do have some different angles that you can press over here on the side to show you some different things, but the clarity itself, that is exceptional. So that I really, really like. I mean, while we're here, we'll do a quick look at the gear shift. So you have just your standard gear shift here, and you press the button to put it in reverse, and you press it to put it into drive, and you press it again to put it in manual mode, and you can just do a little short tap to get it into neutral. You press the button for park. Now, another thing that is going to be different on this vehicle is you're going to have this V mode button. And what happens when you press that button, you have the ability to customize how you want each of these things to feel. Now, for our purposes today, they did steering, suspension, engine, brake feel, engine sound, all of that to the max. So yeah, driving through a quiet little sleepy village was a lot of fun with the engine sound crackling and popping. But if you want to, you can go into that and you can take it into stealth mode. It quiets things down. Touring mode, which is just a little bit more comfortable. But you know, I like the fact that you can go through each one of these and you could really customize how you want it to be. And there's also a My Mode button as well, so you can hit that and then you can go through the different modes. So you've got sport, so snow and ice, so like you can see back here, so you press the mode button, you've got tow haul, you can go into My Mode, and that's where you can customize it for your, you know, yourself, however you would like it to feel. But it doesn't have all of the capability that your V mode would have. You just have a few, you know, fewer things that you can change here. But this button right here is what you're pressing to go through, you know, tour, sport, snow, ice, tow haul, and then My Mode. So I don't know. So you can customize that a little bit. We've been mostly on tour, and I'll be honest with you, we spent a lot of time in V mode. All right, so this is just the basic look at the interior. You have really nice leather seats. You have Alcantara suede on the headliner. You've got this really attractive like zebra wood pattern on the dash accents. You don't really have a lot of black lacquer. Again, you have that zebra. The one place that I did see the black lacquer is here. So thankfully they've gotten rid of most of it. But the interior overall, I think it looks really good. All right, now I want to get into some brief driving impressions. Now that we've gone over how this vehicle is different than the regular Escalade. And I've only been behind the wheel for about a half an hour, but what I want to say is I really like it. So in case you missed it, I'm driving hands-free right now because I'm using Super Cruise. And this is probably one of the best semi-autonomous systems that is currently out there because it does really well with the curves and reading the lane lines and the adaptive cruise and Yeah, it also does automatic lane changes. So there really isn't anybody in front of us, so I don't know if we'll have the chance to show that or test it, but it's a little bit creepy because you're driving along and all of a sudden the vehicle's like, blinker on, changing lanes, and then it changes back and it's like, oh wait, I did not do anything there, but I'm keeping my eyes on the road and kind of my hands at the ready because you never know when things are going to start to blink and tell you to take control of the vehicle. So we'll just end this portion with saying Super Cruise, 2 thumbs up. All right, now on to the actual driving. We were on some country 2-lane highways and a little bit of a twisty bit area, and I thought that this did very well, and it actually, to me, drives a lot smaller than what it actually is, because this is the ESV, so the extended wheelbase version. Can't say that enough. This is a big honking vehicle, and it feels almost nimble. It's pretty comfortable, and one of the things that Cadillac has done that some of the full-size trucks that we've driven haven't done is it gives you a higher ride height. So I'm able to pump my seat up high enough that I have really good visibility out the front windshield, and the belt line isn't too high, so I don't feel like, you know, I'm a grandma who's driving a too large car. So in terms of driving position, also thumbs up, but just the handling and the maneuverability is exceptional for a vehicle of this size. Now, I'd be very curious to see how this does in a city like Chicago with parallel parking and very narrow one-way streets, but here in Arizona, when we're in the middle of really nowhere on some open road, this does pretty well. So overall, really enjoying the ride and handling of the Cadillac Escalade-V. Before we sign off, I want to take a quick look at seating comfort, because I've usually dinged General Motors vehicles and Cadillac vehicles in the past because the seat comfort is not great. So what I want to do is just kind of go around to all the different seats and tell you what I think. We'll start with the driver's seat. All right, transitioning to the seating positions. Let's start with the front seat. So I spent 2 hours in the passenger seat and I spent 2 hours in the driver's seat. And yeah, I have to say I don't really love the padding on these seats. And it could have to do with the fact that I weigh 95 pounds and I'm not a very big human, but the seats themselves are just a little bit stiff, and the seat bottoms are a little bit long. What I would really like to see on a vehicle that is luxury, and let me just check and make sure it doesn't have it. Nope. What I would really like to see on a vehicle that is luxury level is a seat bottom that can get longer or shorter, and this doesn't have that. So I feel a little bit like my legs are dangly and that the seat bottom is a little bit too long and seat bottom is a little bit too hard. The one thing I will say in favor of this vehicle is the driving position overall is pretty good, with good visibility out the front and the side windows, but the seat comfort, not so good, and I felt it in the passenger seat as well. So let's check out the second and third rows. So you do have captain's chairs in the Escalade-V, and these seats feel comfortable and those don't. This feels a lot more comfortable actually than the driver's seat. I don't know what they did to this, and maybe it's all in my head. It could be. But these have a little bit more bounce, a little bit more padding, and they don't feel as long as the driver's seat. And while you're not going to have the massaging seats like you're going to have in the front, you do have the ability to recline, and you can slide forwards or backwards depending on if you need more legroom. And you do also have an armrest on this side, and then you have the door armrest, both of which are padded. Okay, not an awful situation. A couple of other things I would like to point out that you got going on back here. You do have air vents up on the side, and you have HVAC controls in the back here that will allow you to change the temperature as well as the fan speed. You have heated seats, but what you don't have in a $152,000 vehicle, $152,000 for the Cadillac Escalade-V ESV version, you don't have cooled seats. While I'm typically not a fan of cooled seats, I'll be honest, I am a heated seat girl all the way. It is 102 degrees in Arizona today, and I have actually turned the heated seats on a couple of times, or the cooled seat. Well, actually I did turn the heated seats on too, because my driving partner kept jacking up the air conditioning. But I've also turned on the cooled seats, but no option for the cooled seats back here. So, okay, so in the center seat, obviously, I have plenty of leg room back here, and this center seat is actually better padded than either of these seats. So yeah, this right here is actually the most comfortable seat of the three. Now here's the interesting thing that I learned about cushioning in third row seats today. I was having lunch with a couple of the engineers, and here's a little bit of inside baseball for you. The reason why these seats tend to be less padded than the seats moving forward has to do with being able to have a flat load floor. Yep. So apparently, in addition to allow the third row seats to fold flat, there's a certain inch or millimeter or whatever width of padding that you can put back here so that the seats will actually fold flat. So that's why these seats aren't as comfortable. They also said, this is another really interesting stat, that they've done some studies, and the use case of the third row seat is often only about 30%. So I don't know, maybe I'm making too big of a deal about third row seat when they don't really matter that much. They only matter 30% of the time, apparently. But yeah, so this center seat is actually more padded than these bucket seats. And what else do we have going on back here? So we do have air vents up here in the headliners. You have a USB-C port on either side, and you have a couple of cup holders also on either side. Oh, and you know what? On the left side, you have an air vent down below on the side. So that's kind of nice. If you get hot or cold easily and you want the climate, make sure you pick the right side of the vehicle to sit in, because you've got two air vents that you can access and control. But as far as seating comfort goes overall in the Cadillac Escalade-V, I'm just gonna give it a little sideways meh, because these seats were good. The driver's seat was not ideal, and these third row seats, other than this one, weirdly, also not ideal. So there you go. Seat comfort in the Cadillac Escalade-V, meh. All right, before I sign off, I do want to answer one question somebody asked me on Facebook, and it is this: how many of these vehicles is Cadillac intending to produce? The answer? I don't know. And it's not because I didn't ask the question. I asked the question, and Cadillac said they are not sharing that information. They intend for this vehicle to be exclusive, but I don't know exactly what that means. So I guess we'll have to wait until it goes into production in July and they start selling them shortly thereafter to see how many people are actually buying them. So, sorry, no real information there, but exclusive. All right, so thank you for sticking with me for this first look of the Cadillac Escalade-V. If you want more information on this, be sure to check out my written review on the website at pickuptrucktalk.com. And also be sure to be following us on our social media handles at pickuptrucktalk, both on Instagram and Twitter. And you should also know that we do a live stream regularly on Thursdays at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. So we hope to see you there. And yeah, that's all I got for this week. So be sure to check us out in all of those places, and I will see you down the road.